Hi, I'm Derek. Welcome to Life Love Larp. I can't wait to tell you guys what this is all about. So, let's do this. Cue the intro. Well, here we go. Welcome to Life Love Larp. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an artist. I've been a performing artist since I was about 16 years old, which is a very long time ago. I grew up in British Columbia, Canada, and my mom made costumes when I was a kid, so I learned to sew at a young age. In the last few years, I got into live action role play and making costumes myself quite a bit more. Now I work in TV and film, and for the last 2 years I've been a self-supporting independent artist. So yeah, there's that. Also, I have a family. I have a life that where I have to pay bills and do lots of things. I have kids. I've got adult kids, grandkids, an 8-year-old with autism, and a wonderful wife. And so I'm going to talk a lot about the different challenges of being an artist and being able to sustain yourself and balance life and art. On top of that, I'm a certified life coach and family management counselor. So I've got a lot of different skill sets that come into making me who I am. But the reason I started this channel, what brings this all together, is live action role play. A few years ago, a friend of mine and I were working together at a restoration company, and we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, a tabletop game, every Friday night for about 1.5 years. We had an ongoing campaign going, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't know whether it was him or me that actually brought up the subject, but we said, well, have you ever, start talking about LARP? Have you ever gone out and tried LARP? And I was pretty, not really apprehensive, but I was interested. My wife was very apprehensive. My nerd quotient is already pretty darn high here, so taking it up to that next level might have been just a little bit more than what she was able to bear. But anyway, we talked about it for a while and eventually found a group local here in Vancouver and decided we were going to go out and do that. LARP changed my life. I can't tell you well, I guess I can, because my whole intent is I'm going to tell you how LARP changed my life and how much it enriched my life for the better. It set me on a new career path. It introduced me to a whole new group of friends. It released me in so many ways to be more of who I am and let what I do be an expression of who I am, rather than the other way around, where we often end up working our day job, subduing who we are just to get by our daily life. And then to come home and try to be who we are when we just spent our whole last 8, 10, 12 hours being what somebody else wants us to be. So I want to touch on that subject a lot. I also want to give back to the community. I have been blessed in so many ways from my experience in LARP, and I want to take my skills and things that I have, and I want to give that back to you. All right, well, that's a little bit about me. Now let's talk about Life Love LARP and what we're going to do. I'm going to provide a lot of tutorials on a lot of different things. I do not just immersive live action role play with, we try to incorporate great costuming and realistic latex weapons. So I want to show you some of those tips and techniques that I've been learning over the last few years in how to make weapons better, how to make them look realistic, and how to make them reasonably easy. I try to make things well, so easy isn't always the first priority. Also, I do heavy combat. I'm involved with an organization called Empire of Medieval Pursuits, and here in Vancouver, which is a North American organization, very similar to the SCA, which has a name I can never pronounce, Society for Creative Anachronism, I think. But it's very similar to that, a little bit more relaxed on the garb and the costuming and the reenactment portion, but much more realistic in the combat. So you can shield bash, punch, grapple, all of those kind of things. All in full armor with both rattan and steel weapons. So we're going to do some tutorials on how to make some of those weapons and how to make armor for that. Also, I want to cover a lot of very serious LARP related issues. Not so much how to make characters and how to get into immersion and work with issues of psychological bleed, both bleeding into the game and bleeding out into your personal life, but also in game creation. A little over a year ago, I was recommended to a couple of people who were in the process of developing a LARP game system. And at first I was kind of like, well, do I really want to get into this? And I thought, you know what, well, maybe I'll do some consulting. Because one of my priorities in LARP, if I were to write a game, I would want to make sure that that game was very user accessible. The first game that I played was very math heavy, and I found it very complex for myself. And it kind of pulled me out of the immersion, having to count a lot of numbers and keep track of my hit points and that kind of thing. I suck at math at the best of times, so when I'm also doing that while trying to role play and stay in character, it really lost the immersion for me. So as somebody that was very new to LARP, being asked to be part of creating a game was a little bit overwhelming and intimidating. But within a few weeks, I was fully fledged a part of this team of game writers. So flash forward a year later, and here we are going into our second game. It has been one of the most rewarding processes I've ever gone through in my life. Writing on a team of people, creating a world, creating mechanics to operate that world, creating guidelines for players, safety issues, all those types of things, to create this immersive environment where people come out and they engage not just with each other as players in a mechanical system, but they're engaging with a fantasy world. So I want to share with you in the LARP community the things that we've learned. Maybe help you make your game deeper, maybe help you figure out some conflict resolution, those type of things. Lastly, even though I've been a part of creating a LARP and I've been playing LARP games for a couple of years now, in the big scope of the world, I'm still pretty inexperienced. And there's a lot of things I want to learn and try. And I want to take you with me. I want to go out to Vancouver Island and go to Medieval Chaos. They've got what they call a HARP, a heavy action role play game. Gotta get out and try that. I've never done Vampire the Gathering or Changeling or other parlor type LARPs. So I want to get out and experience these things and compare the difference in the mechanics and how the games work, the props they use, that kind of stuff, so I can better help you make your game, whatever style it is, better. So thank you very much for watching my little intro here, and I hope you tune in for the next episode, which should be out in another couple of weeks or so, depending on how busy the film industry is. And yes, that pretty much sums it up. Life, love, and LARP. I'm going on a journey. I really hope you come with me.